Hi, my name's Logan.
And I'm Alyssa.
And this is Marketer's Cut.
Marketer's Cut.
A podcast about movie marketing and, recently in some episodes, TV marketing. If you're a new listener, I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail what we do. We talk about movie marketing. We try to keep it away from just the boring, what do you think about the poster? What about the trailer? And more about some of the either more interesting or weird things that movies do. And then we also throw out some of our own ideas. They could be good. They could be bad.
Nope, only good.
Okay.
Only good here.
I mean, we want them to only be good. Oftentimes they are bad. But hey, we're just pitching ideas. It's like you're joining the pitch meeting with us, and not everything gets taken seriously. It's just a big joke time. But yeah, this week we are talking about Dune, the new, what's the word? How do you describe this film? The new big film by Denis Villeneuve. Why'd you laugh so hard at that? It's a big film.
Well, because that's the fact that you're trying to look for that. You mean blockbuster?
No, big film.
Okay. I just wasn't sure what you were looking for there.
Yep. Full disclosure here, Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors. Arrival is like a top 2 favorite movie for me. Blade Runner 2049 is probably like a top 3 favorite movie for me.
Then what's number 1? Punch Drunk Love.
No, I mean that's maybe top 10. That's a fantastic movie. Cloud Atlas is my number 1.
Still, Logan.
I love Cloud Atlas.
Logan, please.
It's a beautiful film. No one's doing it like the Wachowskis. Can't wait for Matrix 4.
Oh my god.
Anyways, yeah. So we're talking about Dune. So let's get Dune it. You get it? Like doing it. Let's get doing it.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Shut up.
Well, you did a bad one, so I did a worse one.
Okay, so this film was released on October 22nd, 2021, with early, Thursday previews on October 21st. It also hit HBO Max on October 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So we watched it on HBO Max, and we did not go to the theater for it because the closest theater to us would have made Dune look like shit, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
They're real bad. But it's a great movie. We really enjoyed it. It did come out on both, HBO Max and in theater. So how do you think it did box office wise?
Well, you showed me earlier, so I know.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it opened to $40.1 million. That's like the estimates before the actuals from Sunday come in. So maybe it's slightly less. Maybe it's a little bit more. I will say that after the Friday numbers came in, Warner Bros. was pushing that, this film's looking like it's going to make $33 million. For whatever reason, their number was way lower than what it came out to be. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were maybe trying, if that's what they actually thought, and then it just kind of held more over the, Saturday night, Sundays as they thought it would. Or if maybe they were trying to say, oh, well, this is what we expect, and then when it comes in at the number they actually expected, they can be like, oh, wow, look at how much it overperformed,
Or they said, we did a shit job with this one. They were just really insecure about this movie, and they said it's just not going to do it. No one's going to go see this at all, actually. Maybe. 2 people are going to go see it, and then they were like, wow, look at all these people who went and saw this movie.
Is it kind of like that friend that's always like, man, I'm just the worst. And no one likes me at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just not cool. I'm so lame. And I'm so sad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's fine to be sad. But if that's like your personality trait, at least do knitting or something. That's fun.
Okay.
So are you saying that's what Warner Brothers was doing?
Yeah, but I don't feel like it's a personality trait. I just feel like they were watching it and they just weren't happy with it. They were just like, man, fuck this movie.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? They were just like, wow, we should have done this different, that different.
Bold take there.
No time now. And then it came out and they were like, wow, maybe we actually did the best job.
Yeah, they said no time now, but then the movie came out and did well, and they're like, oh, looks like Dune had no time to die.
Nope. Keep going. Next point, please.
Okay.
Next point.
So yeah, the domestic opening was $40.1 million. That is the biggest HBO Max in theater, or what am I trying to say? HBO Max and theatrical day and date release opening. So Godzilla vs. Kongs, or
Space Jam.
Malignant was another one. Space Jam was another one. Yeah, so this is the most that any of those movies has made this year, coming out in theaters and HBO Max at the same time. So already looking kind of good for Dune. I don't know if you remember when Godzilla vs. Kong came out. I think that made $36 million its opening weekend, and that was considered like a huge success for that film. You know,
36 mil.
yeah.
Okay.
So this doing 40 bodes well, I would say, if you want to see more Dune, which I do. Internationally, it made 180.6 million for a worldwide total of 220 million. So this film probably needs to gross closer to 350 to 400 million to break even. But that's a good start, and we don't know the value that it's bringing in on HBO Max too, because they're going to factor in that HBO Max value as well. So I think it's a very promising opening for the film. I think I mentioned that it was the biggest for the HBO Max and theatrical day and date releases, but it's also Villeneuve's biggest opening. So his other films, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Prisoners, Sicario, like this is the biggest opening out of any of those. And those are all non-pandemic released films.
That's a good point.
So it's good for him. I've obviously been following him closely, like for a while, like his film and performances and stuff, or his film performances. I think that Blade Runner 2049 was a phenomenal movie. I loved it. Kind of devastating in a lot of ways though, because that bombed so hard. Like that was a level of like artistry and scale on like that, and it was that kind of budget that you don't see very often. Mm-hmm. And then it just bombed, and you're like, well, damn, we're not getting any more of this. And for some reason, they're like, hey, you can do Dune 2. Like, which, I mean, I love, but I think we talked about James Wan with Malignant, and it's like how they let him make Malignant and do whatever he wanted with it, because he's a director that brings in billion-dollar films, like with F9. Did he do it? No, he did Fate of the Furious, I think. No, 7. He did the 7th Fast and Furious, and he also did Aquaman. Those both made over $1 billion. It's like, that makes sense. While they're just letting him do whatever and giving him like a shit ton of money for those big movies, and then letting him do whatever for the smaller ones. But Villeneuve like he doesn't have that reputation in terms of making money, which is unfortunate. Except that he keeps getting to make new great films. So I don't know how he does it. And it's working though for him, and I love that.
Yeah.
So of course seems to be a success so far. Obviously keep an eye on it. Things can be better or worse like in the weeks coming, and hopefully we'll get like an official answer on whether or not they will be making Dune Part 2 soon. An exec from Warner Media did in an interview say, like, he was asked if there'd be a Part 2, and he was like, have you seen this movie? Like, do you think there's only going to be this one? So that's very promising that that exec said that. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't have any official answer yet, and the money is going to be the main factor, and what that answer will be. So, did you see the Rotten Tomatoes scores earlier?
No.
I told you that I was like very happy with them. Like I was pleasantly surprised at what they were.
Yeah, for Dune, but we didn't watch Dune. We watched Dune.
Okay, for reference, I showed Alyssa the Rotten. I was searching Rotten Tomatoes Dune, and I accidentally typed Rotten Tomatoes Dube, Dube, and I thought that was really funny. So I was like, "Hey, Alyssa, look at this." So that's what she's referencing. I don't know why she'd reference this little tiny moment from our lives that you would not know, but she did.
I take it from the best.
Okay, wow, painful. Anyways, okay, so I'm pleasantly surprised at these numbers. So the critic score is 83%. That's great. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the critic response. Obviously, a majority seem to like it, but the biggest complaint for it is that it's an incomplete story. It just kind of ends, and that there's no emotion at all. Which fine. Okay, those are the big complaints from critics and everything. What would you guess the audience score for this movie would be?
90.
Okay, well, it's 91. Did you look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but I thought it was a 0 at the end, so I was guessing 90. I didn't know what the first number was.
Oh.
But obviously I saw it wrong because it wasn't a 0.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
So I just saw a number and I thought I knew what it was, but I obviously didn't. So it's just a guessing game here for me.
Interesting.
I'm just in the guessing game.
So, I don't know what to say to you. So yeah, 90. It has a 91% audience score, and the cinema score is an A minus. So that's what's most shocking about this to me is that if you would have asked me like how the split was going to look pre-release, I would have said, oh well, it's going to have a decent, probably decent to good, critic score at least. And then the audience score is going to be like a good 15 to 20% lower, because that's just like, I mean, let's look at the Blade Runner 2049 thing. An 88% critic score, 81% audience score. And I mean, that's not 15 to 20% lower, but it's much lower, I would say, So the fact that the audience score is like almost a full 10 percentage points higher is surprising.
I just want you to know that the number I thought was a 0 was a 3 and 83. So.
Okay, great. I mean, are you surprised that it seems like audiences are resonating with the film and not just, critics, which I think has been like the case for some Villeneuve stuff before?
Kind of. I almost want to say yes, but no, but I don't have any reasoning behind it.
Huh.
I don't know if it's because... Oh, I do have reasoning behind it. It's because it was a book, and everyone loved the book. And so I think critics are looking at it from a critic standpoint, and a lot of people who are watching it are looking from like, oh yeah, I read this book. So that's what I think it is, actually.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair point. I was going to say one thing about Villeneuve is I don't think he makes a lot of, like, crowd pleasers, if that makes sense. He does make a lot of genre film, which could please, like, fans of the genre, but not necessarily, like, general audiences. But one that I do remember, like, kind of being culturally talked about a lot when it came out was Prisoners, which we watched, like, 6 months ago or something, right?
Maybe a year.
Do you not remember watching?
A year and a half ago? No, I don't really remember watching it that much. No.
That was made on a budget of $46 million. It opened to $20.8 million, and worldwide it ended up making $122 million. So like that movie made a lot of money. The movie that you don't remember. But I'd say for the most part, his films don't like take hold culturally. Will Dune? I'm not sure. You want to move on?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some images now, which is my favorite thing to do on a podcast, because images really translate well on podcasts, I think. But I will explain them for the listener at home or wherever you are that can't see the images. So, do you remember the very first image released for Dune? Mm-mm. No? Okay, it was an image of what the title would be, or what the title would look like the logo.
Okay.
Kind of. So let's take a look at it. This is it right here.
Okay.
It's got a very like minimalistic typeface, sort of.
Yeah.
And it has the first letter is a D, without like the left vertical line.
It's a U. It's a U if you turned it 90 degrees to the left.
Yes, and then the second letter is a U, and then the N is like an upside down U.
It's rotated 180 degrees.
Yes. And then the C, sorry. The E, well, that's kind of the point I'm getting to. You'll see. The E is, it's like a reverse D. So it looks...
well, not a reverse D. It's like a U
reverse of
if
the
you
D.
were to reverse it...
Rotate it 90 degrees to the right.
To the left.
To the right. We're not going to sit here and...
Oh, did I say it right the first time then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that's what I meant.
The thing is, though, this came out and people are like, oh, cool, the Dune logo, this is great. But other people were like, hey, it says DUNC. Which it kind of does. At the same time, though, it looks cool, right?
Yeah, it's really cool.
But it kind of say DUNC, doesn't
No.
it?
No.
You don't think it says DUNC at all?
No, I didn't read that as DUNC at all.
Well, now do you read it as DUNC?
No, I read it as Dune.
Oh, well, it seems like the
Well, okay, I kind of do.
Okay, it seems like word of this spread, and somebody, whether it was the graphic designer or whether it was a producer, that was like, hey, this movie's Dune, it cannot say DUNC, like fix it. Mm-hmm. Let's look at the poster for the film. Same sort of typeface, except they add this little dot with like a lens flare with like a bright line into the E, so that now it's very clear. Sort of. That's an E and not a C.
It does make it more clear.
It does make it more clear, but like I love the symmetry of it before, and now it's just like, nah. But it was sort of funny that they actually changed it after,
Yeah, because it can't say dunk.
I mean, it could say dunk.
Well, actually, the whole thing is it never said dunk.
But it did to some people.
Well, to those people, they don't need to watch the movie.
We're becoming incomprehensible to any listeners. Let's move on. So some of the marketing stuff for this film, there was a lot of merchandising done, which surprised me. But I guess also it is a very popular like sci-fi series of novels. But there was a board game company partnered with Warner Media to do some board game merchandise. What else? Actually, we saw 2 of those board games at Barnes & Noble. Or we saw at least one of them that was released. I don't know if the other one was an old game or new related to this.
Don't remember.
Cool. Cool. There's some like figurine merchandising. So like Baron Harkonnen got like a 12-inch figurine and stuff. There's also a company helming a new Dune RPG. I don't think this was a video game, so I'm pretty sure it's like a tabletop RPG. Which that's what the Green Knight did. Remember they did a tabletop RPG? Mm-hmm. So I haven't heard much about any of this stuff really, except for seeing the board game in Barnes & Noble. I think it was called Dune Imperium, and it seems to be like a Risk/Catan kind of game. It seems.
Don't tell that to our graphic designer.
Our graphic designer loves Risk,
and he never listens to our episodes, so he'll never hear this. That's anyways.
True. Another thing that I did not know until doing research for this episode is there will be a spin-off series on HBO Max called Dune Sisterhood. And it's a prequel series focused on the Bene Gesserit. Villeneuve will direct the first episode, which I believe is his first venture into TV.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if he's involved at all, I'm curious, Mm-hmm. And then, interestingly enough, the showrunner for the show left in 2019. And then a new showrunner was brought on in July 2021. That's a long gap where there was not a showrunner for the show.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing a lot of the planning and production sort of got paused while Dune was being delayed.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. So, but the fact that they hired a new showrunner in July, I think, makes it clear, because I haven't heard anything about this, I think it makes it clear that that's still happening. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting. If it comes out in between the films, that'll be even more interesting because it keeps the hype,
keeps it going on,
or it keeps giving fans some stuff, but also it gives us a chance to bring in another sort of audience, a TV audience, people that are watching stuff on TV into the Dune universe, so that when Dune Part 2 comes out, you got more people ready to watch it. So it could be great. Also, I keep saying Dune Part 2, and this is something I did not put on our show doc, but I think it's very funny how this movie's called Dune. You look at the poster, it's called Dune, right? And for
how is that funny? It's based on the book called Dune.
I'm not done yet.
Well, okay, well then don't say it. That's funny until you tell me the funny part.
It's called Dune. People that know what's going on with the show or with the movie know that this is going to be the first half of the book. And hopefully there will be a part 2 to finish the book. Mm-hmm. Great. Well, it's really funny to me that you start watching this movie and then, hey, guess what? The title comes up on the screen. It says Dune Part 1. And I think it's a very interesting and deliberate choice that they didn't market it as Dune Part 1.
That they didn't?
They didn't, yeah.
Oh, I thought you just said they did. That's what I said when they opened it up.
No.
Oh, you mean as marketing?
Yeah, they didn't. The movie and all the marketing is Dune, but the title card on the film itself is Dune Part 1.
Okay.
And
okay.
I just
You're
think
right, that is interesting.
Yeah, it's obviously a deliberate choice. Again, maybe it's because Part 1 implies that there will for sure be a Part 2. So you don't want to market with that, but then it is still in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's very, I don't know what to make of it, but it's interesting. If anyone has any ideas of what you would make of that, tweet at us. Let us know. Talk about it on the next step. All right, we're going to move into something that's a little bit spoilery now. Not huge spoilers, but a little bit. So if you don't want to be spoiled at all, or haven't heard anything, or are not familiar with the Zendaya controversy, that's not the right word, but there's a subject regarding Zendaya and her role in the film.
The Zendaya tea.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That I'm going to talk about now. So if you don't want to know anything about that, skip ahead like 5 minutes. So they've been doing a big press tour for this film. Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya, like, together, doing like virtual interviews or interviews and everything all over the place, right? Zendaya is hardly in this film. And there's a lot of like flashbacks aren't the word, flash forwards, dreams,
Visions.
Visions. You see her in visions a lot.
He calls them visions in the movie. Did you watch the movie?
Okay, wow. Towards the end of the film, you do get some actual like speaking from her as an actual like present character in the film, but not a lot at all. So that's fine and everything. But she's she's essentially 50% of the press tour,
Yeah.
And probably like one of the most I don't want to call Zendaya one of the hottest commodities right now because she's a person and not a commodity, but like in terms of marketing and like star power and everything, like her name probably has more power than a lot of other names in the film. Even looking at some of the bigger actors like Jason Momoa or Dave Bautista or Oscar Isaac, Zendaya is probably the most popular person in this film right now, I would say. So of course they're going to want to use her in the marketing. They need this film to do good to get a part 2 where you will presumably have a lot more of her and stuff.
Yeah.
But there are some people that are very upset by it. Like I saw a TikTok and someone's like, she's barely in the movie. This is time the time she's spending on the press tour could be time she's working on other projects. Which I thought was a weird take because like I'm sure she wants to do the press tour because I'm sure she wants to do part 2.
Yeah.
So I think she understands like why they are like I don't think they're like using her, if that makes sense. I have a feeling that it's very much like what's the word? They've agreed to it. It's part of the agreement or something. But on the other hand of that, like I would think there would have maybe been a little bit of an issue with like deception, like deceiving the audience. We've talked about this with Malignant when we talked about like A24 horror.
I have no idea.
But you remember, for listeners that didn't listen to whatever episode I'm talking about, we talked about some of the A24 horror films like Hereditary, Midsummer, what was the other one? It Comes at Night, and how a lot of the marketing for those films markets them as like very scary, like excitingly scary horror movies. And then you watch them and they're very much like slow burns. And that normally results in like terrible cinema scores. Like audiences that go to see this and they walk on and they're like, that was dumb. That's not what I thought it was going to be at all.
Yes, I do know what you're saying.
Yeah, so I would have kind of guessed that there would be a risk of that happening with Dune. If you had people saying, oh, I want to go see the new Zendaya movie, and she's in it for less than 5 minutes or something. You know what I'm saying?
I'd give her 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay, fair. But clearly, if you're looking at like the audience score and Rotten Tomatoes, 91%, the A- cinema score, like that's not having a huge effect. I don't think.
Especially when the audience was even better than the critic.
Yeah, I know, exactly. That's the kind of thing that is shocking me a little bit here. Scott Mendelson I think he's a writer for Forbes, I believe. And he said, say what you will about misleading marketing, but if the movie is good, audiences don't mind getting tricked. Maybe he's right.
I can see that too, because if the movie's trash and I'm like, well, I expected this to happen, and then it's also fucking trash, I'm gonna be like, okay, you tricked me into seeing this movie. Yeah. You knew it was gonna be bad, and you made me think this thing was gonna happen, and I saw it, and I wish I would have spent money on it.
No, that's fair. Now, to push back on that a little bit, I would say that, generally speaking, like It Comes at Night, Hereditary, and Midsummer are good movies. You know what I mean? They're not bad movies. But I do wonder if maybe this effect it's a little bit more pronounced in horror, Because when people do go see horror films, socially, they're going to be scared.
That's what I was about to say. They expect something. When you go to see a horror movie, you're expecting something if you're going to see a drama.
Yeah, it's like there's a very specific thing you want to get out of horror movies. People, like we used to work at a theater. The amount of times we've dealt with middle schoolers trying to like get into R-rated films and stuff, or just dealt with a PG-13 horror movie that's full of middle schoolers like yelling and talking the whole time and everything. Like it's very much a social experience where they're trying to get like this thrill out of it. So maybe horror is an exception to this sort of rule about misleading marketing from Scott Mendelson. But yeah, that's all I have on the marketing for Dune. I mean, of course, they did a lot more. The press tour and everything has been very extensive. I would say more so than a lot of other, like, I would say denser sci-fi movies, you know? And of course the budget's huge, but I mean, even looking at Blade Runner 2049, I don't remember there being this much buzz around the movie leading up to it, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya are, like, younger than any of the stars of Blade Runner 2049. They are, you know...
I think they're both hot commodities, quote unquote, as you said. It's
Yeah.
both of them. I mean, Zendaya's really big right now, especially with... She's got Spider-Man going on. She's got Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
Timothée Chalamet, everyone just loves, even though he's not... I feel like as many big, like, things that are happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think both of them together is, like, wowza.
Yeah. On another note, the French Dispatch came out the same day as Dune. Also stars. Well, I don't know how much of a role he has in it, but you know, he's one of the billed actors. Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
So it's just a Chalamet weekend.
Yep. Chalamet weekend.
A shallow weekend.
Nope. No. Sorry. No. Don't say anymore. Don't say anymore.
In a Timothy weekend. I'm done. Okay. That was so bad. You have any cool marketing ideas for this movie?
Yeah, I feel like they were talking too much. Like real people and not like people who were from 10,401.
Okay.
And I just feel like they should have used some like cooler sci-fi stuff happening. Like there's no way these people are going to talk like we talk right now. Just like how when you watch, you know, Game of Thrones and things like that, they're like, oh, tis. And, you know, they add at the end of everything, cometh, you know, like different things like that. So where's their stuff at? What are they doing? Why didn't we get any like whizzy, you know?
What if we go the other way? What if we don't need sci-fi? We don't need sci-fi gibberish. You know, we need more.
It's not gibberish necessarily much as it is a style that has evolved over time over the last 8,000 fucking years.
Last episode, we talked about No Time to Die, and we talked about. Oh wait, I'm really blanking on what I said. What I was gonna say about No Time to Die. We did talk about that last episode, though. Oh yeah, and we talked about how they were trying to make the James Bond audience younger.
Yeah, that's what the whole episode was about. Logan.
Yeah, that's right. So what if they needed to do the same thing for Dune? If you want to attract a younger audience, do you use sci-fi gibberish, or do you use cool young people slang?
Like what? Like what words?
Well, like obviously I know the cool young people slang.
No.
Obviously I know it. And believe it or not, the cool young people don't like it when you just kind of like spread the slang around. Like, unless it's in a movie like Dune, then they love that. Would you, like, you don't seem to know the cool young people slang. Can you, like, prove to me that you are on the same page as me? Because I don't want to, like, say too much and give too much of the secret away if you don't know the cool young people slang.
Well, then what if I give it away? Do you see how this works?
Well, no, so this is allowed because you're proving your knowledge of it. See, the fact that you're like hesitant and like, oh, I think he's making up the rules as he goes along makes me know that you don't know the cool young people
slang. Well, it's because you're making up the rules as you go along.
There's zero proof of that.
This whole podcast.
It's not. No, the rules are written right in front of me in invisible cool young people ink that only cool young people can read.
Well, sorry, I can't tell you it because I don't have my phone. I can't look at my messages with my cool young hip friends.
Oh, okay.
I know calling each other sis. That's a big deal. I really wish Timothy May would have called more people sis.
Okay, I did. I mean, see, a little side note. If I was making this all up as I went along, I would not know whether to say that's not cool young people slang or whether to say, yes, you're correct, that is cool young people slang. Because, I don't actually know what the cool young people slang is. That's hypothetical. Inside note. Okay, continue.
Well, I'm telling you, that's all I can remember because I don't have my phone right now. I can't look at our messages where we like interconnect with this lingo.
Yeah.
But I just listed one. I mean, we're always talking about the T.
Yeah.
You're always talking about the
dabs
T.
are out.
Dabs have been out
There
for a
should not have been a dab
long
in this
time.
movie. They did good on that. Good for them.
Well, I thought you said we want them to... Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's good they didn't dab because then it would have been like, oh, old people made this.
Yeah. That's true.
Uh-huh.
What else?
The people... Is okay boomer still a big thing? Because then, like...
That happened, like, a year ago.
Like, Paul's dad could have said something to him. He could have been like, okay, boomer.
Yeah, I don't think that's it anymore. I think that's fleshed out now.
Oh, okay. Congrats. Correct answer. Did a little test for you there. Anything else? Young related, or should we move on to another idea?
I said my idea. Why don't you say your idea?
Oh, okay.
You haven't said any ideas yet.
Well, there's like so many cool young people phrases to pull from.
We don't need to talk about the cool young people phrases anymore.
Oh, I just need an idea. My idea. Oh. Thank God. Okay, well, my idea to do this movie is I think they should have embraced the dunk more. You know what I'm saying?
How so?
To the point where by the time they're releasing the film, like each theater gets like 2 copies of the film, one called Dune and one called Dunk. And in the Dunk one, actually every theater does not get this, but some do. Some theaters get the secret copy, but it's not advertised that they officially have it, you know? So you have to go to the theater to see if maybe you have a chance to see the secret copy of the film. And there is a shot in the secret version of the film of Timothée Chalamet dunking a basketball.
Into a worm's mouth?
Yes, into a worm's mouth. And it's just it's like a 4-second shot. They don't say anything about it before. They don't say anything about it. It's like a transition shot, you know?
You don't think... I feel like people would be so mad if they went in and they weren't looking for Dunk. They were just looking for Dune.
Yeah, but you instead of advertising the movie, you advertise the scheme. That all the money goes into the scheme. So everyone out there knows about Dunk. They know that they have a chance of seeing Dunk. And some people, maybe they don't want to see it, and they're like, okay, well, odds are I probably won't see it. But other people going to be going from theater to theater to theater to see Dunk. You know? And people can't share it online. If they share it online, then...
What? What happens? Tell me right now.
They're not allowed to see Dune 2.
Okay. I just don't think you can enforce that. This idea is like... It's too stupid, but it's... Some ideas, some core ideas there are good.
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, I completely agree. It's very fucking stupid. But there is something there where it's like, oh, like I would go to at least 3 theaters to maybe hope I get to see
You
a
would pay
version.
$30+
To see Timothée Chalamet? Yes. Yes. To see him dunking a basketball into a worm's mouth.
I would too.
It'd be something to tell your grandkids. It'd be
No,
amazing.
it wouldn't be.
No, and also like theaters getting multiple copies of a film is not unheard of. And I wish I could fucking remember the name of this movie. But when I worked at a theater, we did have a horror movie once that we got multiple copies of. Or we were able to download multiple copies of it, but we were told like, hey, download version A and you're playing this one at your theater. And this horror movie had 2 different endings. It was a smaller movie. It wasn't even like advertised that much, you know, but it had 2 separate endings. Then, depending on where you went, if you got lucky, you know, you get one ending or the other. That was a very weird thing, but just kind of like, you know, elaborate on that idea for Dune, idea for Dune, and you get a brilliant marketing idea. Now you can't do this for Dune 2, aka Dunk 2, because then you can't be like, oh, you can't see Dune 3. Unless they do a Dune 3. In that case, you can keep the gag running.
Okay.
Beautiful, right?
That's all I have to say is just, all right.
Okay. Your turn for a marketing idea now.
Oh, God. Oh, I don't know if I have any.
I have one.
Okay.
Dune's got... Everyone's talking about Dune's names. The wacky names, you know? Like Arrakis. It's a cool name. And then the people are like, Paul, Jessica.
Yeah.
Whatever. Boring names. Give people the chance to name their own Dune character. You know? Say, hey, go buy a ticket. Send us a ticket stub like a picture of your ticket stub with your suggestion for a Dune name. One lucky person will win, and then in Dune 2, that character will be featured. Maybe they'll mention the character by name or something, you know?
Tell me why they have to have bought a ticket.
Because you want them to go see the movie in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, like, there's already a Duncan, Idaho in this film, you know? But then you can do, like a, I don't know, I'm bad at names. Like
Sally Sherbert is what came to my mind.
Logan, Idaho, you know?
No.
Duncan's long-lost brother.
Hey, you can't change the story now. You can't change the story. It's just
not
a side
story.
character.
It's just like a little, like Duncan's, I'm not going to say it. But he might have a long-lost brother. He might have a brother. It doesn't change his character. It doesn't change the story.
It might.
Like maybe Paul's just like, hey, remember the time when Duncan in Logan, Idaho, his long lost brother, like just hung out with us back on that last planet?
Tatooine?
Yeah, no. I can't remember the name of their first planet, but you know.
Who cares?
Okay. Okay, well that's my idea. You got another one?
I did, but then you kept talking, and then I forgot. And I feel like, give me a second. Let me see if it can come back.
I'll entertain the audience as you're thinking about it.
It might make it worse.
So I've been thinking about doing some stand-up comedy recently because people kind of think of me as the funny one from this show. So I'm gonna try out a few jokes on you here.
How am I supposed to think when you just said that out loud in front of me?
Okay, I guess I won't try out some jokes. Your loss, audience.
Okay, here it comes. The big idea. It's a golden ticket idea.
Okay, it's always a golden ticket idea with you.
Okay, well, you keep selling the books. Maybe people are like, wow, now I need to read Dune before I go see the movie. But in a couple of copies, they get not a real golden ticket, like a dusty ticket from all the sand and drugs, and maybe some worm gum spit on it. I don't know why I said gum. I just meant like spit goo.
Okay.
And it's your ticket to see the movie, and you and 9 other people who also got it get to go see it with Willy Wonka, a.k.a. Timothy
Oh, he's
Chalamet.
playing Willy Wonka.
And,
Wow.
So you go see it with him, and maybe Zendaya.
Maybe Logan, Idaho.
No, like...
That's me.
I don't know if anyone else...
That whole idea was a way for me to get into the film.
I don't think anyone else is really going to care about anyone.
Imagine how much our podcast is going to take off when I'm in Dune 2. And I say, in the movie, listen to Marketer's Cut.
I don't think you can... They're not going to let you say that in the movie.
Keep it quiet, though. I don't want them to know. I'm going to sneak that line in there.
Okay, well, you just said it. And in order, we've learned that if you want to get into a movie, you have to get high with your 2 other brothers and do a podcast about it.
Yeah.
About how you would do it.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's for us.
Okay. Well, good golden ticket idea.
Thanks, and I forgot it related back right on to Willy Wonka.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, I don't have another idea. I do think that like it's a little bit of a shame that we didn't like make it do an idea about like drugs. You know, because like there's so many drugs in the movie. Like spice is like a drug, sort of.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be like, hey, like I don't know, give out drugs for Halloween or something for Dune.
Or you're like, this is what it feels like. Okay, so then we should have already stopped this episode, but it's fine. You're like sitting in the theater, but they're like, this is the spice version. And people pay extra money to go to this version, and like the screen looks like how it would look like if you were on those drugs.
Is it just real 3D?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's like.
Well, a really cheap way to do it would be to say that's the 3D version, you know?
No. You have it like, it's like moving all weird, and there's like, I don't know how their drug is. You have to ask the author of the book, and then he'll tell you what it should look like.
He's no longer living.
Okay, well, you'd have to ask his children.
His son has continued to write the series.
Yeah. His son will tell you kind of what the drugs make you feel like, and then they'll have to make the movie look like that.
That seems like I'm gonna say it a miserable way to watch a 2.5-hour movie in a theater.
Listen, you're paying for the experience.
I guess so.
They make you like do fake snort like some cinnamon or something like that.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
And then
like a lawsuit.
And then you get there and you're like, whoa, it's like I did the drugs.
Look, we're ending on a rough idea. Lawsuits. You cannot be shocked at me for saying your idea is rough. You tell me my idea is rough at least twice an episode.
Okay, but my idea is good.
Okay, yep. Yep. Well, I guess we're going to end the episode today. That was our episode on Dune. From my favorite director, Denis Villeneuve. See what I did there?
Yeah, but now people are not going to think that's his real name. You really just fucked him over there.
Correct.
They're not going to know his name. They're going to be trying to say it wrong.
So find us on Twitter and Instagram at Marketers Cut. Find the podcast anywhere you can find podcasts or on YouTube, and learn more at marketerscut.com. I want to thank Jacob Wall for his art and his love of Risk. Find his work on Instagram at Jacob Art Wall. And that's it. We probably will not have an episode next week because we have a lot going on. But look out for us the week after. We'll have something for you.
The week after will actually be about a year from the first time we did our first episode.
Oh, there's an anniversary. Maybe we'll do like a retrospective episode and like kind of how everything's gone so far. You know? That could be fun.
Maybe.
Like look back at some of our ideas, you know?
Okay.
Maybe. It's a lot of work to go listen to some old episodes to find the old ideas, but you never know.
Maybe the day that we need to record, they'll all just magically pop in our head and we'll know them.
That's how things work.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you for listening. Again, find us on Twitter at Marketers Cut. Leave us a review on iTunes. Tell your friends about us. Anything helps. Goodbye. You're laughing like a maniac.
Leave it in. Leave it in.